Hi guys, so in June I turned 30 and I wanted to do this video around the time that I actually turned 30, but as you know, a lot went on in the summer and I never got around to it. So I'm getting around to it now, and I'm essentially going to take you through 12 money mistakes that I made in my 20s. Now this video is sponsored by Chip, but more on that later. Also, if I sound a bit weird, it's because I've had COVID, so I'm still a bit not 100%, but I didn't want to put off filming any longer. So we're going to kick off, and if you've followed me for a while, you'll probably have heard some of these before, but if you're new here, then you may not have. So the first thing on the list is taking out commercial loans. Now for me, it was one of the first things that I did when I got a proper job. It was just the easiest thing to take out. I think it was like 7 or 8 grand that I took out, and I was just like, oh my God, I have all this money, which kind of firstly fed the psyche of, oh, it's super easy to just borrow money. And then also obviously the interest piles on and it's a bit of an endless cycle. So honestly, it should just be used as a last resort. If you have no other means of getting by and anything else, just save up the money and wait until you can afford it. Mistake number 2 was buying a brand new car on finance. Now, it wasn't my first car or anything, obviously. I'm not going to do that, but I got really excited and I ended up buying a car on finance, and a lot of the money ended up being interest, and brand new cars lose value really quickly, so they depreciate really quickly, which might be fine if you have tons of money. But if you're in your 20s, it's a great way just to waste money. Now, the car I have now is brilliant. It's in really good shape, and I bought it secondhand, and it still had really good mileage and everything else, and I'm super happy with it. So no one is saying you have to buy a beat up old car, but maybe buying a brand new car on finance is not the best idea. Mistake number 3 was not having a side hustle right from the beginning. So I did work, so I did have like a part-time job, but what I mean on top of that is a side hustle. So something like selling on Etsy or YouTube, or something where I'm working on my own side hustle rather than working for someone else, because you have so much free time in your 20s. And I know it feels like you don't, but you do. You know, I was doing school and work, and then I was doing uni and work for a bit in the very brief year that I spent at uni. And I still had a lot of free time that I spent, you know, either going out or watching movies or whatever else it was. And just imagine if I had spent that time building up my own brand, my own business, or something like that. That could have brought a lot more income. It could have grown a lot more by the time I was 30. Obviously, I did start a side hustle in my 20s. I started this YouTube channel in my 20s, but what I mean is like from the beginning. A lot of times actually building a side hustle takes time. So in the beginning, you won't see much return from it in terms of the amount of time you put in, the amount of effort. So actually, when you're at a time in your life where that maybe doesn't matter as much, it's a great time to start building it up. Okay, mistakes number 4 and 5, I think out of every single one are the ones that I regret the most. And if you've followed me for a while, you will have heard me going on and on and on about this. But mistake number 4 was not saving 10% of my income right from the beginning. So when I had my part-time job when I was 16, and my paycheck was like £300 a month or something, I really regret not putting aside just that 10%. You know, it's not a lot of money, but over time would have built up so much. But I personally didn't save anything for literally years, so many years. I got into debt, great, but I saved nothing. So now, talking of savings, this is where Chip, this video sponsor, comes in. They have a brand new account, which is really cool in my opinion, and it is called the Prize Savings Account. They will run a monthly prize draw, and provided that you have at least £100 in your account, you'll get entries in the draw simply by holding money in your account at the end of the month. So every month that the draw is running, there will be prizes of over £10,000. This includes a grand prize of £10,000, as well as 250 smaller prizes of £10. Now, the more you deposit, the more entries you'll have, up to a maximum of 8,500 entries per customer. It's free to deposit money into this account, and there are no charges for holding the account or for entering the prize draw. And you can withdraw your money at any time, with the money arriving back into your normal current account almost instantaneously. The account is FSCS protected up to the £85,000, and you can deposit from as little as £1 into the account, but you do need to have a minimum of £100 in the account to be eligible for the prize draw. Now, you might be thinking this is very similar to the NS&I premium bonds, which it is. Now, the NS&I premium bonds are the UK's biggest savings product. However, withdrawals there can sometimes take up to 6 days, and in December 2021, NS&I received over 4,000 customer complaints. What's more, in late 2021, there was a whopping £74 million, over £74 million in unclaimed prizes. So how does it actually work? Each draw will close at the end of a calendar month, and they will hold the draw in the first week of the next calendar month. For more information on this, check the description box below and let me know if you sign up and you win anything. Okay, so mistake number 5 for me in my 20s was not investing earlier. Like I said, this is something that you would have heard me going on about a lot on my channel, but oh my God, have I lost out on the compounding effect. Honestly, even if all I had done was invest 10% and save 10%, that's still only 20% of my paycheck every month going away. And even that amount over this many years would have compounded to something really nice. And I know that part of it was just lack of education, which is why I wanted to start this channel, because so many people don't realize that they can invest from a young age or from small amounts. I think that's the big barrier that people have, is just, I need lots of money to invest. No, you can invest £10 a week. Like, it really doesn't matter. £10 a month, really, if you're at a push, it's still something. Like, okay, you're not going to become a millionaire or retire on that, but it'll still be money that you're investing into your future. Mistake number 6 is going to be a little bit controversial, but it is going to uni. I absolutely think, for me, going to university was a mistake. It just got me into student debt, and I ended up not using it, not finishing it. And I'm a huge believer in apprenticeships. It's what got me to where I am. You get your education paid for, you get work experience, and you get paid. And of course, like I've said before, that might not work for every profession. Of course, if you want to be a doctor, you need to go to uni. But for so many professions, apprenticeships are the better choice. People are getting into lots of debt that I personally believe they don't need to get into. Mistake number 7 is not saving into my employer pension, and this was something that I was against for a long time. I figured I was too young. I figured that I would start when I was 28 and it would all be fine. The amount, again, of compounding that I missed out on, the amount of employer contributions that I missed out on, I think it's really important to read through and at least familiarise yourself with the kind of pensions that your employer might offer. Another important reason for this is that most private pensions you can actually start drawing down on when you are, I think, 10 years younger than the state pension age. So again, why wouldn't you want access to that pension earlier than the state pension age, which just keeps increasing? Mistake number 8, not tracking and budgeting spend. This is such a basic thing, a thing that people find really boring, but it really makes you sit down and think, oh my God, is that how much I'm spending on this or that? And it doesn't have to be restrictive. You don't have to be completely abiding by this budget and having no life, but you have to get into the habit of tracking what you're spending, where you're spending it, why you're spending it, really. Having that initial relationship with money from the start, I think, will set you up for a much, much, much better financial future. Mistake number 9, being completely obsessed with shopping. Now, I worked in a shopping centre, which didn't help, and in a shop for about 4 or 5 years, I think. But honestly, I was constantly shopping and constantly wasting money on things that I really didn't need. Mostly things like, clothes and cosmetics and things like that. Most of which I ended up either giving away or throwing away, and it was just such a waste of money. And I do realise that at that age, having 500 different tops might seem like the most important thing in the world, but it's really not. Really not. Money mistake number 10 for me was not having a financial plan or goal that I wanted to follow. And again, this isn't about being restrictive, but this is about thinking for my future, thinking, okay, I have this goal now of financial independence and retiring early and not having to rely on big institutions and things like that. And having had that as a goal in my early 20s, I think would have prevented me from making all these mistakes. And having a goal and a why, maybe if I was shopping, I would be thinking, okay, does buying this align with my financial goals? Is it going to put me off of my financial goal and journey? Obviously, it's not the most exciting thing to think about when you're in your early 20s, but it is really worth considering. And even if it's something like, I want to buy a house by the time I'm 30, I need to save a deposit. That is a goal. I want to save 10% of my income. That is also a goal. So have a think and set yourself a financial goal or plan, and you will see how much it changes your life. Number 11 is caring too much about labels. So when I was in school and college, all the cool kids were wearing all the cool labels, and I'm not talking designer labels because that would have been even dumber, but I'm talking Topshop and Zara and like all these places. And yeah, sometimes they had nice clothes, but it wasn't necessarily about buying nice things. It was about, oh my God, I have to have jeans from Topshop. I have to have this top from Topshop because it's Topshop. And the quality was rubbish and the price tag was probably 10 times more than what it should have been. And I feel like a lot of money was lost that way as well. Mistake number 12 is not thinking things through before buying. Now, this has lost me a lot of money. Over the course of my 20s, I've done a lot of stupid things because I've purchased things without thinking about them. So one example is that I spent a lot of money on signing up to be a personal trainer. So for a course, which I never ended up doing because I didn't have the time. And had I not been as impulsive and had sat down and thought this through over a couple of weeks, I might have saved myself like $2,000, I think it was. So honestly, this whole don't impulse shop and think things through, people know what they're saying when they tell you to do that. So just sit on things. And the final mistake that I could think of at least is not utilizing credit rewards sooner. So I have made so much money, maybe not money, but kind of money, by utilizing credit rewards with things like American Express or my previous MBNA card. Obviously, you can't use it as a line of credit. You just have to be responsible, pay for things as much as you can with it, get those points, pay it off in full every month so you don't get interest. But again, the earlier you start, as long as you're responsible, the more you can actually make out of those points. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Hopefully this video has been informative to some of you at least. And again, I apologize for my voice. COVID is not fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and I will see you in the next video. Bye.